All right, so some line handling, if this is helpful. One of the things that I do is I think about how I hold the leash. And so I put it so that it goes, this is a horse thing that Nancy actually taught me this, I think. But you put it so that your pinky is kind of clipping it. And so it creates that little bit of tension space there, better than just holding it here where it can slide through. Now it tensions up. So that's one of the first little tricks to use. I'm right-handed. And I'm a female. So that means my center of mass is my ass. This is where my center of mass is. And so that's what I want to use. Whereas a guy, center of mass is chest. So knowing that, I have to adjust what I do. And so I'm going to take my leash and I'm going to actually take it around my body. And I'm going to use my left hand doing that same technique I just showed Pinky. And I'm going to latch my leash here at my hip. So when I'm thinking about this leash, it's coming around, my hip bone is here, the thickness of my hip is here. If I stay on the upright, I'm pretty easy to push over. But if you drop your weight, oof, you just had so much power that came into this. So dropping my weight, and I now want to say, when they say post up, I want you to literally think that this post, this leg is a post drilling into the ground. And so this leg's not going to go anywhere. So find that comfort spot kind of around your waist and then lean down into this. So now the leash is coming around me and it's being trapped by this hand that's through that pinky space. And I can lean back and I can take on Rottweilers, Presa Canarios. They can do all their pounding and all their bouncing around. And it does make it kind of inconsistent the way they hop and bounce. That's why I'm just sitting on my leash. I'm just sitting back and just taking all that pressure. Now, you will have times that the decoy or the helper needs to move back and forth. And so if that happens, what I like about this, we have our little helper man here, I can still have my lean back, and notice how I can still pivot. So if I need to, I can pivot just with the front and try to keep my pivot leg here, my post leg here. And if they start to come back this way, notice how I can adjust this front leg, and I can try to keep this post leg nice and still. So no matter which way my dog is going, I can still keep that pressure down. What I want to be careful of is if you start to get here, oof, now you're starting to get in that kind of danger zone of I don't have the weight and I can just get spun around. So keep this front foot always out in front. Where is my toe facing? It's not facing the direction of where the, well, and this time the helper is. So if I'm doing this, my body is too far open. And if I'm here, I don't have the leverage that I need, and I'm kind of torquing my back leg. So instead, this foot is about maybe a 30-degree angle over, and this one is perpendicular. So I'm literally making a T with this back leg. You're going to get more power. Right now, you see kind of a triangle. You'll get more power if you lean back and you go directly over this and make this a straight line. So if you look down at your legs and you notice that you're more of an A, become more of whatever this is. So that this leg is nice and straight. Did you feel a difference too?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's a lot more power.
Got
So
more.
if you can, I want you to pull as hard as you can and see if you can pull me over. Come on, man, pull me. And as you bounce, you'll kind of feel too. You will have a little bit of movement. What I want you to think about is your decoy or your helper. They're really relying on you to do a good job. Don't die here. One of the things that they're trying to do, they need to know that the dog's head is always going to be in the same spot. And so one of the things that I see people do that doesn't help is this other hand. You're like, it needs a job. And so one of the jobs it's to do is to make sure the leash, when the dog lets go and maybe has less tension, is to not let everything go slack and fall. Because now if the dog jerks, this is not a good situation. So this hand is simply there to keep the leash at the right height to go around your waist. But I want you to think about something. Decoy, they need to know where your dog's mouth is. If you start using this hand and pulling up or down, you've now changed the distance of where the dog is. If that dog gains 3 inches and that decoy's got the pillow right at that little window, you just gave your dog a bad bite, and that's gonna not help anybody. So this hand is simply there, maybe like an eyelet, think of it that way, but it's not there to put any pressure up or down. It's just there to keep, when the pressure goes off, that you don't lose this placement here. So I don't really hold on to this tight. This is my holding hand. I'm right-handed. This is my left hand doing all the heavy lifting. It's like a gear ratio going around me. Sit back on that, your dog's not going anywhere. Now, if your dog needs to go somewhere, you can grab it. I try to think about how can I safely move from here, and if they want me to have my dog dragging in, This leg is always still planted, so I'm making sure plant, 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 plant. Notice the angle of this one. I'm really digging it in until I can get this one plugged in. This is your kind of moment of like, oh crap, you can go toppling over. So try not to let your feet get too close. So I go here and here and here, and if anything, notice in my step, thank you for not letting go. That'd make for a great video. I'm gonna go angle, and then this one is still angled back. So she's holding me up. If she lets me go, I'm hitting the ground because that's what I'm expecting my dog to do. So this is how I'm gonna let them come forward. Hopefully that helps and makes a little bit of sense. Thank you so much. If I'm upright, I'm very easy to get pulled over. But if I use my hips and my weight and I drop myself down, already I've brought that center of mass down and I'm gonna be really hard to push and move. If you just think about, if I'm standing up tall, you can push me over. If I get low, you're not pushing me over. So all of my power is coming from my quads and my weight that's right here. The other, I want to keep the leash low, which is also an advantage. So I don't want the dog, if they're bouncing and such, I don't want them flipping back over themselves. So I'm going to wrap it under my butt, take it around, have that locked, and I'm going to lean back. So I can lean back and I can pull so hard this way. And because it's wrapped around this little spot, that's what's keeping it. Now I'm right-handed, so I tend to have my right hand being the anchor hand. Notice it's around my body. Now I can sit and I can lean into it. As my dog is bouncing around or moving, all I have to do is adjust my front foot to get that angle if my dog is moving. And so if they're here, I can kind of face. This toe is not completely pointing that way. I'm pointing slightly to the side. This foot is bracing back at a perpendicular so that I can really put and drop my weight back. So if that dog's bouncing, you know, my body can kind of take that. And that means this hand, it's not doing nothing because if the dog loosens up, the leash will fall low and it can get wrapped around their legs. This hand is more like an eyelet. It's not lifting up, it's just simply holding it in place here. And so this hand locked into my hip, it's right around, my hip bone is right here. I'm right into my hip locked in there. I can use my bicep here, I can keep my arm tucked nice and tight, and I can lean back. And that dog can bounce, and the more they bounce and the more they pull, look how low I lean. So the stronger they are, the more I lean down, and you're not taking me anywhere. Also, footing. If you're in wet grass or clover, I don't care how strong you are, I don't care how much you're leaning in and getting the proper technique, you're going. So check your footing. If you need to get some cleats on, get some cleats on, but check your footing. So be safe out there. Hopefully that's helpful. So I'm just literally holding on with one hand, that's it. So you guys will start putting even pressure. Wait, not yet. I'm going to lean out. And I'm just holding. Go ahead. Start pulling. Start pulling. Come on, start pulling. Start pulling. Good job, guys.
Good video.
Yay!
That was fun.